All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies for the delay there, but this is a very special edition that we have today where we're going to go and use Cursor to design a landing page. And we're going to actually take a template that's already available online and see if we can modify it. And the way we're going to be doing some of that is by connecting here and basically going to be using some templates available from Tailwind UI. So I'm going to show you how we're going to grab one of these templates and then insert some prompts using Claude. And with Claude, we're going to set up one of these projects here where we're going to have like your marketing plan and kind of figure out what that looks like so that you can have a really cool landing page. So what I've started working on is a landing page for my own workshop. And so I have this free experimental Cursor workshop that I'm going to go ahead and try to figure out how to launch because I've never done these workshops before. And I do like community coding and I like helping people, figure stuff out. And so this is going to be my attempt to help you out. And so what I did is I took this template from Tailwind UI and I made this awesome looking, interface. And all I did was just feed it, basically my marketing plan and told Cursor to go ahead and update the components. So one of the key advantages of using templates to go ahead and use Cursor in these types of systems is that people, make these templates available for you. You can buy them. And then from there, what ends up happening is that you can just insert all your different stuff from your marketing. So here in my testimonials area, basically I have all these comments from my YouTube videos. And how cool is that you can have like your YouTube comments right in there. So let me know how the sound is going, by the way, because I'm doing this outdoors. I'm doing this with the new thing with like Rodecaster, and I'm trying to figure out if I got echo or not. So I might be doing some sound checks in between and appreciate the thumbs up and so forth. And again, my apologies for the delay here. It says starting at, yes, Will, it says starting at 2 p.m. PST. It's actually, I'm currently in mountain time, and that's kind of, I had a little bit of an issue with getting started here. Just working through some technical difficulties with my setup. And so let's see, we have one here. It says, please include how we can do a save option in chat of Cursor. So instead of accept all, we can do a live preview of the changes in the browser. And if we don't like it, it doesn't save the code and we go back. So yeah, I'll definitely see how we can do that because when we're iterating with interpreter mode, I'll show you over the Command S or hit save. That way you can go back and forth with your types of things. We have a couple different techniques there. So yeah, let me just go ahead and just pull up my phone and see if I could do a quick sound check because I want to make sure that the sound is pretty good because this is my first time using this. I have a Rode Streamer X here, and then I can kind of show you a little bit of my camera setup. So this is a little bit of a wider view, and I literally have this microphone here. I'm outside, and I have this thing connected, and I usually have like a bigger board outside. So I'm going to see if I can pull up the stream and just kind of see how the audio is going here. I usually have like a bigger board outside. So I'm going to see if I can pull up the stream and just kind of see how the audio is going here. Okay. Yeah, the sound is super crispy. It looks like my internet's connection is really, really good too. So I definitely appreciate that. Wow. Thank you everyone for joining in and kind of working as I work out this types of stuff. And so, yeah, just kind of let's go ahead and kind of get started. So if you haven't already downloaded Cursor, we're just going to get a little bit to the basics, kind of launching it and go ahead and download it. Most of you have already been playing around with it, but this is a good way to just, basically hit download for free. And then once you go into there, they have this option for starting a trial. So what I would suggest is just basically just go ahead and get started with the free trial. It's a 2-week trial, so that way you can try it out. And if it doesn't work out, you could just, say, okay, this is not for me. But one of the most important factors here is to just be able to keep trying. So it's really important to have an idea of what you want to do and then keep trying over and over. And what I'm going to show you is how you take these errors and try to put them in and tell Claude to keep solving it. So you just basically rinse and repeat that process over and over. And at the beginning, you may not know how to prompt very well, but by maybe watching a couple of videos online, you'll basically be able to rinse and repeat this process to keep improving. So at the beginning, maybe your output isn't that good. People are saying your code isn't perfect. That's okay. I think the whole thing is about learning. When people learn to code and people learn to use these types of systems, they're not perfect from day one. Everyone makes mistakes. And the goal here is to try to watch me and watch others do this stuff so that you can learn, how to do it your own way. So this is a little bit kind of doing that there. So this is just kind of a breakdown of like what the plans are, the free versus the pro. And then all it is just these fast completions. You can still complete stuff. You may get in the queue if there's a lot of people there and so forth. So yeah, definitely appreciate everyone who's been tuning in right now. And we have some folks tuning in from X. I'm also live on YouTube and also live on Twitch as well. So we have that going on. And the other resource here is it's called Tailwind UI. So I'm going to go ahead and put this into the chat here. And so with Tailwind UI, what's nice about this is basically this is a place where they actually have like a marketplace of components, templates, and so forth. And so with these templates right up here at the very top, when we're going to go ahead and take a look at these, they have these various sites that are designed. So the templates that are here are all like already pretty well designed and mobile friendly. And so the design that I started working with was this one called Primer. And so with Primer, if we do a live preview, it basically looks a lot like my landing page. And, you know, that's on purpose because the whole point of software is not to really reinvent the wheel. And you can customize it and add your own stuff to it. And you can kind of see how they've done their layout for the page. And what's really nice is like if you have it on mobile, it also resizes on mobile as well. So that's pretty cool. So you can see how it does that. And what's nice is that we don't have to spend a lot of time prompting and giving so many different prompts just to get like the basic layout, to add these different things. And so we're going to basically kind of speed run this a little bit because starting off with this is probably really key. And I want to put this into your head a little bit that you should probably try to look for these types of templates because they really do help you get a head start in a lot of your projects. And that's kind of like the hack here. And so there are companies and different people who make templates to help you get started, especially really great designed ones. And so I would definitely kind of encourage you to not only download them, but play with them and see if you can make something of that and so forth. And the final resource would just be rayfernando.ai. So I'm going to be using a prompt here from building with Claude Sonnet 3.5. So from my first live stream, I actually have this prompt here at the bottom, which says a markdown prompt. And in this prompt, we're going to be using it to generate some of the cursor rules for TypeScript and stuff. So that this is going to be some of the stuff that we want to stick with Next.js 14 and do that type of thing. So without further ado, if we haven't got that going, let me just go ahead and get rid of this little comment thing here down at the bottom. And let's go ahead and open up Cursor if you haven't opened up Cursor here. So with Cursor, you basically have this little landing page and just kind of, or this area here. And this is this is where you would start working with your projects. And on the top right corner here, we have like these little icons. So this gear thing would toggle open the thing to the left. And you press it and see how it kind of goes away. And then the bottom panel here is the thing that reveals the terminal, this thing at the bottom. And so like these are actually like little tabs here, problems, outputs. But where we're going to spend a lot of time is probably focusing more on the terminal and stuff. And if I do Command plus, that basically increases the size, and Command minus makes the size smaller. So if you're a person who has wants to see the font a little bit bigger, just do Command plus, and then Command minus would make the stuff smaller. I think on Windows it's like Control or like the Windows key plus. But for anyone who's using Windows can definitely take a look at that there. And then the other thing that you're going to want to take a look at here is going to be the AI pane. And this is probably the pane we're going to spend a lot of time in, as well as the interpreter mode, or composer mode. And so with this one, when you press this pane, it's going to reveal chat and review. And so with chat is basically where we'll be asking questions about anything we want. And then this little Claude Sonnet thing is the actual AI model that we're going to select. And so I just leave it for Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Please excuse the geese that are currently in the background. This is kind of currently my situation that I'm at right now. I'm going to try to move my locations in the future, but so that y'all can do with this here. And so the other thing that we're going to go ahead and take a look at today is also the open cursor settings here. So in this cursor settings area, basically what we have are a breakdown of the general, models, features, and beta. So in here, these are what they call rules for AI. And so this could be very useful for if you stick to one programming language and do some type of thing over and over again. You would put a lot of those rules here that, you always wanted to talk to you without fluff, or, you wanted to talk to you like a clown or whatever you want to do. You would just put that rule in here and stick it in here, and it would do that. And so I'm not going to put anything in here yet, just so that we have a reference. But just kind of wanted to let you know that this is actually here. And the way to get to it is the very top right corner with this little cursor settings, top top right with the little gear. And if we go down, there's like a privacy mode. I actually don't have any fancy code or code base, but if you're working for a corporation, they probably don't want your code to be uploaded onto anyone else's servers. So if you're doing work for someone else, and you would probably want to check the privacy thing for that. For me, since I'm doing like open source work and different types of things, I like contributing back so that it helps their algorithms improve and further fine tuning of things, just a FYI. But it's totally up to your discretionary as far as privacy mode there. And then in the models section, this is what we were talking about earlier as far as the models that are available for us to choose from in the chat window and in these different interfaces. So they've given me all of these by default. You have the option to add your own types of models. Looks like my camera kind of went out for a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get that coming back in a sec. This happens sometimes with my other my camera that's connected. It just has like a power issue, but that's okay. And so what we're going to go ahead and do here with this is just kind of leave this alone. And then people have been asking, so do I have to pay for Cursor? And you actually don't need to pay for Cursor if you want to use it. I believe the chat feature here, if you want, you can actually select and use, I'm just going to get rid of my camera for a second here for a sec, and then just let it chill for a sec. And then we're just going to probably select my other camera up here so that we can just continue with our stream as usual. So that way it probably looks more natural anyways. So what we have here is going back to this. So you're saying like, do I need my can I bring my own key? Can I use my own OpenAI or Anthropic key? And yes, you can. Actually, I was doing that for a while. And so in the chat, whenever you're doing anything, all the stuff that you're sending up, you could just use your OpenAI key, and then they will charge you per the amount of tokens that you use. And so that's the place here where you would get your own key. And because I was using it so much with so many projects, I ended up finding out I was paying more than $20 a month. At that time, it was like GPT-4, and it was fairly costly to do these types of operations. And then when I was using Anthropic with the larger context windows, that just, kind of basically made my bill go crazy. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to pay $20 a month and then turn off my key, which, you can always turn this on in the future date, but that's just a FYI. There's also a Google one as well, and this could be really interesting. So just letting you know that this feature is basically there and available for you if you want to use it. And, by all means, please, investigate that if that's kind of something that you're looking at doing as well. So yeah, that's the models section. And then in the features section here, we have this thing called Cursor tab. And so with Cursor tab, let me see if I can move my camera a little bit. Yeah, this way it looks a little more chill. All right. So with Cursor tab, what this allows you to do is, this is like their own version of what Microsoft used to have, or what Microsoft has called Copilot. And so as you're typing, the text will appear and you can hit tab to just auto-complete it. And a lot of people are actually praising the version that Cursor has because it seems to be a lot smarter. And then because the actual system is looking at your entire code that's in the files and in other files that it's referencing, as you're typing in different functions and things, it already starts to pull in everything that's possible. So I have this enabled for the times that I want to sit down and actually write code, because a lot of my recent work has just been kind of like streaming on the fly and then just telling Cursor at a very high level without touching a lot of code, and it just kind of moving really quickly just to get these ideas out. So you can do that. You can do partial accepts, and but this is just kind of like the general settings that I have enabled for me right now in these types of sections. And then also for Composer, this is the mode that we want to enable. This should be enabled by default, but for some people, they may not have that enabled. So this is basically the command I, and this is going to open up this window that we're going to be using quite a bit. And this will allow us to touch multiple files and work iteratively. And I find that flow a lot faster than using the chat. And the other thing that we're going to cover today is another thing called projects. So the projects is going to be allowing us to do those types of things that will say, hey, here's my rules for the project that we're working on right now, which is to implement the marketing copy. And so let's just kind of focus our efforts on that. And then once we're done with that, we're going to move on to other things like, whatever other tasks we want to do. So just kind of FYI, that's kind of how I was thinking about these things, and we're doing that. So this code-based indexing will show you once we start to load up a project, how much of the indexing has been put up. And I'll say it's usually extremely fast. And that's kind of how we'll be able to talk to our project and get these files that we need. So in the docs section here, these are actual documentation. So if you do add a new doc, you can give it a URL to any documentation and it'll put it right in there. And when you give it a name and you want to reference it, for example, the OpenAI SDK, we'll just hit @ and then put this file name, and then we'll say, please implement this using, the documentation there. And it should be able to use, that information from that documentation and try to implement it. So it's one of the kind of more advanced ways of doing programming. Usually as a programmer, you would look at the documentation yourself and then kind of digest it. And you're like, okay, let me go ahead and play around. In this case, we're going to be telling Cursor to go do that on our behalf, which makes it a lot easier. Prasha Day, why do you prefer Bun instead of NPM Yarn to build your Next.js app? I've actually just recently started using Bun because the way that this person has taken the effort to it's extremely fast as far as like getting your packages down, writing stuff to all these different files. I also find it better for memory management. So if you use the Node package manager, you're going to have for each project, it's going to have this Node packages kind of piling up in different places. Where if you start to use like the other version, which is called PNPM, you'll have like symlinking happen. And this is kind of like more advanced like file structure stuff. But with Bun, this guy is basically taking the efforts, I think it's to rewrite the whole system that would get the packages and put it onto the device. And he start to find all this different latency and figured out, why aren't we doing these types of system calls? Why are they doing these types of things? And the guy who did this is like extremely meticulous and detail oriented. And I actually find that stuff really useful and reliable and really fast. And so that's kind of why I've been using Bun a lot. A lot of documentation and for everything's been written is for NPM or PNPM, but Bun can now just slide right in. And in fact, I just noticed that Vercel, which I used to deploy a lot of things, have now started to adopt Bun as far as like their deployments as well. So I do find more and more people, most every package I can install with Bun, and I do find it really, really fast. And reliable, and just like the other stuff was, comparatively. And there's a lot of performance tests. So for those who aren't familiar, Bun is just a package manager, and I do find that it works extremely fast. And everything's kind of optimized at the lowest levels as it possibly can, which is kind of like a little bit nerdy, but just kind of a little bit more advanced topic there. Can Cursor be used for iOS programming over native support for Xcode? So right now, I'm hearing people hacking around, and this is something I'm trying to do on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, I'm going to be meeting up with my friend Ronald, and Ronald actually is a Swift UI developer, and this is something that I've been very curious about too, because like I want to make more Mac apps, I want to make mobile apps and stuff, and I want to make stuff that's very like specifically tuned for iOS development, and there are a lot of different hiccups that are kind of required. So I feel like we should dedicate a specific day for that. And if you want to tune in, definitely tune in for that. I'm going to try to make a little thing specific to iOS development. That way, we can kind of focus on those efforts, because there's going to be a lot of uncovering of bugs, of Xcode specific things that you have to build. That there's just kind of, it gets really hairy very fast, and I feel like that's kind of going to be its own thing. But definitely thank you for bringing that up. And it's kind of cool. We'll see what the limits currently are, and then it will be interesting to see what the community does, because a lot of people also want this so bad, and it wouldn't surprise me if people start to kind of find better ways to work around these types of things for these types of systems and stuff. On Keith, I think it's just having the right .cursor rules and the prompt the way that you would like to write the code. Yes, that's one part of the actual programming here, is that trying to use the rules to do certain things. And actually, there's some really good resources from McKay, Wrigley, and also Riley, who have been sharing lots of stuff nonstop. And then my favorite person is Imrat, IMRAT on X. And he's just, this person just sharing crazy amounts of like details for different types of stuff. And I actually originally started my streams because of Imrat. And I wanted to show, hey, this is kind of what I'm doing and so forth. So I appreciate everyone kind of just stopping in. This is making the stream really fun and actually enjoyable to, to work together and share and these types of things. And kind of, a lot of people have been asking for getting started. So I said, like, let me go ahead and start this type of things to help some other folks and help you, get these things started and get stuff off the road. And I said, let's just do it today. And how do we grab templates? How do we get good design and use that as our base and then kind of build on top of that? So the advantages of that is the fact that there's already a code base there. There's already a scheme, and usually they're done very well because you pay for them generally. And then that speeds up your workflow quite a bit, especially if you're working to just do a quick landing page or do something. And so like one of the things that I like is that good design automatically leads a lot of the times to a lot of trust. So if you see something that's really well designed, very well thought out, and then you can purchase that, and then you build on top of that, there's a level of trust that you just don't have to explain. You're just like, yes, I present myself in this way. I am very serious about how I do things. And I feel like that's kind of, you're coming in at the pro level. You can come in where everyone else is at, down here, and just getting started. But I feel like that's the next level. And that's why I kind of also feel like that Cursor is a huge unlock right now for my designers. So anyone who's doing design right now, like this is your moment to just take this type of platform and just keep iterating with it. It may not be perfect right at the first try, but I feel like, you have to I'm going to, hopefully by sticking around with the stream and watching others that you'll be able to kind of take this and say, okay, I'm not going to stop until I get something out there. And it's only going to be easier over the coming months, days, years, as the tooling gets better and as the AI models continue to improve. And the biggest advantage that you have as a designer is that you're basically different from everyone else. You have style, you have very specific choice, design how to lay things out. And just like saying, okay, now we have cameras that are really good. Everyone now has billions of people have cameras with their phone. There's still not a lot of people who take a lot of amazing photographs that you would pay for, right? So that's a whole, that's kind of what I'm saying. This is a little bit of that, but it's not that, but at the same time, but that's just kind of FYI. So I definitely appreciate everyone just been coming in to hang out on this nice Sunday evening. I'm currently in Montana, doing remote things, and I was just trying to get my audio set up, and I appreciate everyone that's been able to kind of hang on for a little bit and join me. There's a big delay in getting this stuff, but I wanted to make sure that the audio and the video stuff is at least right or okay. And so just kind of making that happen here. So yes, this is the real backdrop. This is not, you may even hear geese and stuff in the background. So that's kind of chill there. So, all right, onwards and continuing on to our little bit of a breakdown, just kind of doing a quick layout of where things are in the panels here. And this is just like a live stream casual. I just want to hang out with you and chat. And, I plan to make content in the future, and I'm trying to interact with more people and trying to get a sense of what's really important and what problems can I solve. And here is just kind of a more casual way to do these types of things. So I usually just leave these here, the default for the editor, but just so you know, as far as features in Cursor settings at the very top right, when you get to here, this is where you'll be able to find some of these types of settings that can be very helpful for you. So just a FYI. And then in the beta section, if you want to enable these, this will label the 200,000 Claude context. I have enabled it, but I stopped using it once Claude Sonnet 3.5 came out because Claude Sonnet is the best, absolutely the best. So it's I haven't touched that. Even though I haven't enabled, I haven't really touched that since. So just FYI. And so, yeah, that's the Cursor settings right now that we have for the breakdown. And then, so yeah, I think what we should do is I should probably just start out with a project and then kind of work our way through here. So our goal today is to take this template from Tailwind UI. So in Tailwind UI, there is actually, like we were talking about a little bit, was that there's this templates that are available that you can buy. And then within those, they're just really well-designed templates. So there's also one called Salient, which is really cool. So with this website, it already looks super professional. And so you basically have your own version of a SaaS landing page. And so what you can do is just feed it in your app details and what you want to do. And then Cursor then will go ahead and update every section automatically for you. So that's going to be our big unlock today is how do we speed up this process? And how do we save so much iterations and time by starting out with a good design and then building on top of that, right? Or changing colors and things. So this is kind of feel like super awesome, or it's literally gonna feel for me like a cheat code and so forth like that. So let's see, concepts in Tamil. Do we have to manually select a model, or does Cursor auto-select based off of the input query? So right now, Cursor has a default selection of Claude Sonnet 3.5, and that's pretty much across the board. They do have that drop-down, which you can select your own custom model. But for the most part, that's already pretty good. So I wouldn't have to really change anything from there going forward. So in tailwindui.com, I've already downloaded the, let's see, the we're going to go ahead and just download the primer template. So these are paid templates, but just going to show you to kind of get started. So if we hit download, we should be able to download it here. And then once the download is complete, we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and try to open it here and see if I can do something. So I'll just show you what that looks like in the Finder. So we'll do primer. Okay. So we're going to have two different files here. We're going to have JS and the type TS. So that's TypeScript. And so I like to work in the TypeScript stuff. I'm going to go ahead and open that. And then within here, we have this entire file and so forth. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is that, this is currently downloaded. And one of my workflows is to actually use this thing called a workspace. So in my root folder here, I actually, in Ray, I have this thing called workspace. And the workspace is a folder where I pretty much put all my projects. So a lot of people like to put stuff into desktop and stuff, but I feel like your desktop can get really cluttered, and mine does over time. But workspace is something that one of my friends taught me, David Paget from Apple. He used to do a lot of development with Node and backend stuff and front end. And he's like, I just saw him and was like, oh, workspace, that makes a lot of sense. So why not do that? So, in the workspace section is kind of probably where we're going to go ahead and put this primer thing. And so if you do on the Mac, if you do Command up, that basically makes you go up one level in your folders, and Command down. So one of the things that I missed from Windows is when I would go to a folder and hit enter, I would just go right into a folder. And I was like, how do you do that on a Mac? So the biggest unlock, if you use a Mac, is do the Command key. So the Command up and Command down will traverse up and down into your folder trees. So if you select one and you want to go into SRC, if you have a couple different view options. You have a list view, you have a columns view, but if you're looking at the icon view just like this, you just do Command down, which will go in, and Command up will go up. It's the coolest thing ever. So just a FYI and stuff like that, just for keys and things that are kind of for reference there. Let's see. Do you have any suggestions for building the backend database of an e-commerce site? There's a lot of different directions that can go in. And I primarily like to use Shopify. Shopify is phenomenal. It has a CRM sort of built in some ways, has a tax thing figured out and connected. I used Shopify before I even did front end development stuff with that type of thing. And the thing I got frustrated with Shopify is the fact that it just was slow at the time, and updating the code was just really horrendous. But yeah, I would definitely recommend Shopify, to be honest. It's probably the easiest to get set up, taxes wise, rules, theming, and everything. Yeah, because I'm currently working on a Shopify store that's the Shopify is the back end, and the front end is actually Next.js. And that's actually my friend Snap Studio. So Snap Studio is the site that basically, this is actually running Next.js front end. And so this is also the same thing, responsive as far as design, so that you can, view this on an iPad, or it even goes down on mobile. And then you could even pop in here and select one of these. And then, everything loads up super crispy and super, fast and stuff. And then has a little add to cart section. And then when you check out, it actually pops you into the Shopify checkout area so that it does the calculations for the taxes. So just a FYI. And that's why I love Shopify, and it's super, super duper handy. Is it simpler for beginners to pick a framework such as Fast HTML as it's simpler to debug? Vishal, yes. I mean, it's for beginners, it's more of what is your outcome, and what is it that you want to really do. And so if you take a look at Riley, who is on YouTube, and he also does a bunch of stuff in AI, he just started. He's just I'm going to just try to make a Python app and do it. How do I do that? And he basically just did it in Python, and he found out about Streamlit and just publishing different things using HTML and just experimenting and playing. So he was using Replit, and because Replit is already hosted, he just hits, build, and boom, it's already published. So I would just experiment, Vishal, and play, and just, see if you can make something. That's kind of why I like V0 a lot. So v0.dev. If you go to the chat section here on the right, it says chat. In here is basically where you can start to generate little apps, basically. And then try to get these and try to ship it. It's make a little challenge for yourself. How do I do this? And if you don't know, just keep asking the AI for how do I make this available to ship? And it will give you the instructions, and just keep working on that. If, I would say make that your goal right now, And so I'm just trying to show one example of how do you take a template, and then how do we get that, basically delivered online. So yes. No, hey, hey. Hey is for horses, as my dad would always say. I always hated that. I was like, hey. He's like, hey, hey is for horses. He was like a Native American man, and he was just very like, you could tell he was deep and he had a lot going on. So that was the thing there. So into our file system we go. So with Finder, as we were talking about here, I like to use this view. This, like, I do Command 3, which is basically the column view, so that I can go left to right really quickly. And so what we have here is basically our file. And what we're going to go ahead and do is basically rename our project with, instead of primer TS, we could just do kind of like demo dash landing page. Landing dash page, sure. So I basically have just renamed the project. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is just drag this into like the workspace area here. So if I drag it over to the workspace on top of that, that basically puts it right into here. And then basically from here, we should be able to open this demo landing page right up in the cursor. So let's go ahead and kind of get that going a little bit. So I'm going to minimize this, and then we're going to bring up our cursor stuff here. So we're going to say open a folder. And so we hit open folder in cursor. It's going to present us with this workspace area. And then I'm just going to go to where it says demo landing page, and then hit open. So remember, we selected the TypeScript version of the thing, and then we renamed it to demo landing page, and then dragged it in here. This is the template. And so I just joined. What are we building today? Oh, this is a great thing, and I definitely appreciate you. So what we're going to be building today basically is going to be, let me get this up here. And so here we go. We're basically going to recreate my current landing page. So I have a landing page that's basically based off this template from Tailwind UI. And so with Tailwind UI, what I was able to do was basically make my landing page to talk about my free experimental cursor workshop. And so the workshop is free, and it's just literally going to be a way for me to, like, you know, live stream with you and you join me and kind of recreate this exact session, but more streamlined and more focused on, like, okay, here's what we're going to do. This is how we're going to bang it out. Today's live stream is kind of like an open demo and more interactive community wise, but this is going to be a lot more focused and a lot more like time intensive, and say, okay, step 1 is this, step 2 is this, have some Q&A like towards the end and so forth. So this is going to be my 2-hour journey. So we're going to basically try to recreate this. I'm going to show you how we're going to do some prompting with Claude and using projects to generate actual like landing page material. So like kind of give it a marketing plan and see if it could do a marketing plan for us, which would be kind of awesome. And so that's going to be our goal today. And so in Tailwind UI, there's a template section, and there's a lot of templates available. And so all I did was just download the primer template, and that's kind of where we're at right now for this here. So in the primer template, we went to go ahead and in cursor hit open, and then once we did open, that's kind of what we started to load up our website. So Vercel and Replit for easy fast deployment. I'd say Replit super fast, easy, really quick to experiment and get stuff on. And then if you don't know, you could just ask their AI, which is also really good. And it's also running now Claude Sonnet, and you'll be pretty much banging right there, right out the get-go. So, this, I wish I had my music. I still need to get my audio board figured out, because it's still kind of new to me to get the music stuff going. So just a FYI. And so now that we are in here, we basically have loaded up our SRC project and everything. And so what this has is, this has the package.json. And so with this package.json, this will tell us the packages that are going to be installed. And so what I like to do is bring up the bottom panel, which brings up the terminal. And if you don't have Bun installed, you could just do, I have the actual instructions on how to get Bun installed. I'll have that up on rayfernando.ai. But I'm just going to do Bun install. And so what this will do is basically go and use these packages and go to the internet and grab those packages and install them for us on our thing. And so once we have, like, this is basically doing its thing, boom, just like that, super started. And so if we just go bun dev, what that will do is start our development server, and then it's going to be available at localhost 3000. So if I pull up my website here, or this web page, and then let me just close this terminal thing and then go back to cursor. I'm just going to copy this here. You could just do command and click, but I don't know if it's going to launch into a different window that I don't want. And I just want this available for the stream. And so it should be loading up. Boom, here we go. Cool. So this is actually the template that we have available. And what's nice about it, it's already resizable as mobile. So I can move this to the side. Maybe I'll move it over here. And then what I'll do is just kind of maybe squeeze this to the side. So that way you can kind of see a little bit of what we're doing and what we're working with here. I'm going to get rid of this sidebar and maybe get rid of this package JSON. And so in the app, what's nice, if we go to the very top here, on this side, this is basically kind of like what you would see like on a mobile page. And then in our page layout here is kind of where the code sits. And so this is basically the website, and we can say, okay, get lost in the icon of design. If I basically do Command C to copy this and then go into our actual code here and it hits the little search bar. So this is the search area here. This will allow you to search anywhere in the project for this exact text if you're just trying to change it. We're not going to do this by hand, but I'm trying to show you a little bit of how this little thing works, so that way you have an idea of how to do things in the future, FYI. So if we hit this here, you can see actually where it pops into. So it says it's in the components hero section. And so if you click this area right here, it's going to take us right into that part of the code. So I'm going to move this to the side so that we can kind of see. So if I change this right now, saying YOLO bro, over here, it updates just like that. So it's pretty cool. So because we're running our development server, any changes that we're making in this environment immediately show up in the browser here right away. And the reason why it shows up is because we're actually running the npm or the bun commands, is saying button dev. So if I stop my server and I hit Control and then C, Control C will stop the server. Now, basically this thing will be unresponsive. And if I hit refresh, Command R to refresh our page, you see it can't find the server. And then we just hit the up arrow. So the up arrow in the command line will basically bring back this thing, the last command that you had left. If you keep pushing up, it'll just keep going back. So that's basically kind of what you have there. So if you just do, bun dev, we'll basically start the development server again, and then Command R to refresh, and they should load up our environment here. And so that's kind of what we have here. So, now that we basically have our template up, now we can just go ahead and ship it, and just we're good, right? Live stream over. Okay, we're done. No, that's just kind of a little bit of a heads up of kind of how that works there. Do you have any suggestions for the backend database? Oh, did I do this question already? Shopify, maybe something like Laravel, Node, Django, backend for MySQL, Firebase database. I think Prashad, hit me up on the DMs on X. Let's go ahead and just chat a little bit more, because this is probably going to be pretty lengthy, detailed response, and there's a lot of different kind of back and forth things there. Because preferences and what you're working on and what you're familiar with is also very helpful in terms of what you're trying to accomplish for a store. And for me, sometimes, depending on how much traffic and if it's an existing store, or how much inventory, there's just a lot of different details that things can get into. And so, like me, keep it simple. So, but yes, let's go ahead and chat a little bit more on the DMs. And so if you haven't been following me, I'm currently on X as well. So x.com/RayFernando1337. And on there, you'll see my profile. So you can just go ahead and send me a DM. And then looks like I'm currently live there too. And we'll go ahead and chat. My DMs are open. And right now I'm still a little bit behind on quite a bit of DMs. So getting back to some folks, but don't worry, I have not forgotten about you. So I will definitely get to you. And so here, what we're going to go ahead and do is figure out our marketing plan. So in my case, what ended up happening was basically I was trying to figure out to improve this landing page copy. So what I ended up doing was I said, I wanted to get data to basically figure out there were so many different things that people wanted from all of my live streams and all the different comments. And what I did was I ended up creating a project. And so I ended up creating a project in Claude called Cursor IDE Live Streams Marketing. And so to create a project, you have to just go to the project section and then hit create project right up here. And what that allows you to do is basically give a very specific outcome for what you want to do. So intro to Cursor. And so what I ended up doing here in that project section was in what you can do. There's a thing called product knowledge. And so you can put a set of custom instructions in here to do whatever you want it to do. But in this case, I basically just gave it basically all the comments of the Twitter comments with the live streams and different information about marketing and stuff. And, basically ask it to, give me some like marketing ideas for like an intro course for how we're going to go ahead and, you know, do an intro like Cursor IDE basics for like a live stream. And so I started my prompt, you know, here basically, where is this here? At the very beginning, I just said, I made a poll on X/Twitter. It says, how can I turn this opportunity to tell an offering that would fit this group? So basically gave it all this context, and it generated a basic course funnel strategy. And so like, it's really interesting how like when you go to Cursor and go to Claude, the whole goal is to try to generate like a marketing plan. And so the marketing plan is like, how are you going to communicate the information that you have with all the comments and stuff and try to make something that's really interesting. I'm not a marketing person. I'm trying to learn about marketing, but I've been using these techniques to try to understand like, how do you position things so that people, you can help the most amount of people, because that's kind of what it's all about. I have a lot of expertise. I don't really know how to communicate that well. I can make websites, but if I just say, you know, I could make a basic website, just put your email here. But, you know, I want to do something more than that. I want to stand out a little bit more, and I want to leverage these platforms because I can code to basically get those types of ideas. So what I ended up doing was it generated like a basic marketing plan, and it gave me like even the stream title and also like a structure for how I should do the stream that I want coming up. It even told me about the key points to want to emphasize and like any engagement strategies as well. And as well as a call to action. And so basically what I ended up doing was just copying this marketing plan and then saving this into a file in here. So in my actual project here, what I ended up doing is just going to go ahead and go to, you know, basically at this level where it says like you can click any one of these files. I'm going to go ahead and hit new file, and I could just say marketing-plan.md. And so what I did is just paste that marketing plan in here. And so this is basically our marketing plan that we're going to go ahead and use to fill out the template. So that way we don't have to like repeat ourselves, you know. We iterate in Claude Sonnet basically or in Claude, the actual, you know, outside of Cursor, back and forth, kind of giving it as much information as humanly possible. And then tell it to, you know, output a plan. We could even tell you want to output a plan for, you know, a landing page and so forth. And so within that, I'm going to hit, you know, save a Command S and so forth. Let's see. Okay, we'll do thank you a lot. Same questions as Nobu. I think you guys have the questions about the backend for Shopify. Yeah, send me a DM. We're going to go ahead and chat. I think that'll be a lot easier way to do that because I'm trying to show some folks right now how to get started with Cursor and some of like the basics and stuff, and take this template and kind of ship this thing, which would be pretty awesome here. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and close this here. And so within this, now that we have kind of this pulled up here, what we're going to go ahead and do, we've already realized that the page is already starting here. And so what I'm going to do is this Command-Shift-I. So this will bring up this basically composer view. And within this composer view, you have a way to, you know, give it different files here. So this little plus will tell us what files do we want to put into the project to, you know, basically do whatever we want to do. And so on my website, I actually have some rules established because I like to use Next.js 14 and different things like that. So on rayfernando.ai, if you go ahead and check that out, I'm going to put that into the comments here. So that way, or into like my little thing down here. So at rayfernando.ai, let me just move that here. On my actual like homepage here, you'll just see the first thing that says building with Claude Sonnet 3.5. And then once you go in here, I have the system prompt, which is basically the Next.js Tailwind CSS generation type of thing. That's the one that we're going to use to follow. And this has all the rules that we want to comply with Next.js. So that way we don't have to worry about, you know, like everything that I want as far as like, you know, all the beautiful things I like about Next.js are basically all kind of tied into this system prompt. And if you don't know how to generate prompts like this, all you have to do is just ask something like Claude Sonnet, you know, I want to do X and I want to use this type of stack, you know, help me use that. And then if you don't know anything about it, I would definitely suggest either using, you know, Google to search. I like to use Perplexity a lot to say, what are the best practices for this, you know, type of platform? And so that way it gets a lot of the really good knowledge, and then you can feed that into your prompt to say, improve this prompt, and I want you to follow these techniques because these are the top people in the industry that say this is how you should do things. And so that's how you can kind of iterate on your system prompts and kind of keep them updated. So there's a lot in here. And I also have other resources for people who are looking for, I think the one I was talking about was like the marketing prompt. So how do you get something and like improve the copy for a landing page? And this is something that I have that basically gives you how to do different types of marketing, which is use case marketing, product marketing, or platform marketing. So this is all there, all available for free. So you can just go ahead and download that. I'm just continually going to share this stuff for you so that you can take advantage of this and use it anytime you want. Let's see. In the sense of building, what are we building today? Sorry, should have been clear. Oh yeah, so basically what we're going to be building is basically showing people how I reproduced my landing page. So my landing page I have that I have not launched yet, but I'm about to launch, is this landing page for this free experimental Cursor workshop. And so what I did was basically fed it in my marketing plan. And then from there is where we've been able to take an existing template and within like a couple prompts, be able to just update everything very quickly. And so the goal here is just to move as quick as possible and leverage people who have really great design, buy their stuff, and then implement your marketing copy right on top of it. And then boom, you're basically up and running. And it saves you lots of time because you don't have to do like a lot of the little details for like the mobile implementation, which you can do. But I mean, there's just a lot of already slick designers and people who do really good design work. And they sell templates. And templates are probably 1/10 of the cost of hiring them to do a design. So why not leverage that? And then use this type of stuff, if you don't have to know how to code too well, like in a specific programming language and leverage that type of thing. So that's like the 10x unlock that you can get, but also be differentiated from everyone else who's just starting off with like blank slate, And so everyone's UI may look like, a really basic template of like ShadCN. But then this is basically another level on top of that. So it's 4:30 p.m. and I'm up just to catch you live. Oh, definitely appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate everyone all around the world who's been able to kind of tune in, enjoying the content as a non-coder who's feeling empowered by AI. I really appreciate this content. It's easy for a change. It's easy to charge ahead of coding and not understand the big picture. Yes, I am definitely a huge person who just goes right in, but this is kind of new for me, and this is sort of like a way to try to like actually explain a little bit and slow down. I like to move extremely fast, and I'm going to have I'm trying to code stream more. And so there are going to be some days where I'm just going to be I'm just going to just be banging stuff out left and right. And I just may not be like explaining as much, but this is kind of my effort maybe on a Sunday to kind of chill out with you. I know you're taking time on the weekends and people are staying up really late to watch, and I definitely appreciate that. So I'm trying to explain a little bit more. And today's focus is more kind of like the intro, the basics to Cursor, and kind of like a little bit more of the thought process that goes into like the way I look at some of the designs and how do I take those and unlock. And like a lot of it's really focused on the designers who have designs, or maybe who have who are people who are not really that good at design, who want good design. How do you take that and then make, something that's better? And so you kind of have to have really good copy. You have to have a good design and have good code, that runs on the website. So this is kind of tying a lot of those types of elements together very quickly. And you'll very quickly surpass a lot of people who are just kind of getting started as well. So can you explain why you save the marketing plan in a Cursor as an MD file, and also what's the abbreviation for? Oh, that's a great question. Thank you for asking and for clarifying. So the reason why I saved it in the project is for a couple of things. In Cursor, when you change computers or you start it up and come back again, that file or those prompts that you put in may not be available next time. So if you come back, it could all be gone. All the work that you did to like build up with the prompt or do some marketing thing. And so I like to save them off as files. And what's nice about that is the fact that you can later on see them and then make changes to them. And then we can save them. And there's this thing called Git that we're going to be using to kind of keep track of our files. And that will allow us to kind of roll back in time and say, okay, when was the last time this file changed and what did we change in it? The second advantage is the fact that when we start doing work that updates the certain interfaces, we're going to be calling back that marketing plan at different times. So I don't always want to reference it in my prompt. I want to like have it very specific to, okay, the goal today is just to update the hero image, but make sure it fits our marketing plan. So that just kind of like pulls it back in to reference. And think about this as like hiring an intern that like just started and they don't even know what to do. they're really good, they're really cracked, but then like they don't really know what your brand is, what your style is. So if you give it a little bit more context, they're gonna be like, yeah, thank you. And that's how we call it. Is going to be something I show you how we're going to go ahead and do here in the stream, which could be helpful for y'all. Guys, can anyone teach us Cursor 1-to-1 for money? I don't know if there are people who are out there, Michael, but I would definitely try to take a look online. Right now, really, really busy to do things. But if you send me a DM, I could search around and ask for different people who are pretty good at this, and try to see if I can connect you with them or whatnot. So just send me a DM. I am on X at RayFernando1337. And maybe I can find someone that could be a right fit for you. And anyone else in the community, just hit me up, and then maybe I can connect you with Michael as well. And so, yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get something kind of going like a community-wise, so that we all can kind of hang out together in Discord. So yeah, basically I'm reproducing my landing page website. So without further ado, we've taken this template now from the Tailwind UI. We've downloaded it. We've put it into our actual IDE through in Cursor. And then we basically have run the development server, and now it's running on my local host. And so local host basically just means that it's running on my local computer, and it's not available to the outside world. That's just a way of routing. So you may see these jokes or memes saying, local. I send a link to my mom and she can't see it, because local host just means it's just running locally on your machine. It's not accessible to the outside world. And part of like another step later on is how do you get that to the external world so those people can see it. So, all right, cool. So then now what I'm going to go ahead and do here. So now that we have this thing up and running, I'm going to go ahead and to hide the sidebar, use the icon on the top right or press Command B. So Command B will hide this thing to the left, or this icon up here to the side. So just a FYI. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do now is just a quick rundown on the side of like a Next.js project. So in the SRC file, what we have here, I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. It just like this hierarchy is kind of important, and I'm going to just I'm taking my time here to kind of explain this because I think this could be useful. I know a lot of people like to replay the video. So this is kind of the speed that we're going at, just a little bit slower than usual than I'm usually used to. And if you're like already kind of know this stuff, you may want to skip ahead. I'm going to see if I can have some timestamps. So right now I'm just going to do a little bit of a breakdown of the project structure so that people are aware. So in SRC, there's this app directory. There's components, there's images, and there's styles. And so in the app directory is kind of where we'll have like where the page kind of lives. So and whenever you see like page.tsx, that's usually something that can show up automatically. And then the layout could be additional things that you do that will basically feed into the page there. And so the components are like one of the keys in programming is to like not repeat your code all over the place. So you can basically define styles for like the way a button looks. For example, I'm going to kind of move this down a little bit here. You can do like a check icon or a container. And so once you design these things, they're kind of there. And so you just tweak them in one place. And whenever you want to make your overall design, you would just kind of pull that in. So you would just say, hey, give me the button, give me the footer, give me the pattern. And so if we go into the page here now, you'll actually start to see the way that they're brought in. So there's a hero section at the top. There's an introduction. There's a nav bar. Table of contents, and then some information inside that. So that just is just like a basic app structure, and this is kind of how it's laid out. So if we wanted to put for example, like the free chapters section, and then the below the pricing, we can just basically move this right on top of that, and then boom, it'll just update right into the page. So just a FYI, and then the footer here at the bottom. So that's just like these are all coming from components. And in order to go ahead and see them, you can hold the command key, and if you click that, it basically takes you right into that part of the code, which is pretty cool. So you can always see where something comes from. If you go to the page, hit command, and like you click any one of these things, it'll actually show you where the function's called. And that's just kind of some basic ways of navigating these things in these types of stuff. And then like in the images section, this is kind of where some of the images will be referenced. So you'll see this at thing and / components, and you see grid pattern. And so if you see like go components, and then you'll see grid pattern, so that you'll see, and so grid pattern will just be referenced right here. And I just did the option click just to take me right there. In avatars, you'll have these different images. You'll have resources as well that are available, and screencasts. So like this is kind of the way that they organize their project and make this stuff available for us. And so the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is try to see if we can use these rules that I pulled off from my website at rayfernando.ai, and then going to say, okay, let's go ahead and work on some of this here up here. Let's see. Next system problem, Next.js Tailwind. So this is the thing that I wanted to use to kind of comply with things here. So I'm going to do Command-Shift-I. So this brings up this composer view. And then the composer view, there's this like sort of like you can say these are like the different chat windows that you have that will pile up here. And then up here will be like the different files that we can add in that we want to go ahead and update. And so since we don't really know which files we want to touch, we're just going to kind of leave that blank for now. We're going to hit create new. So in create new, we can do a couple things. We can create a new single composer window. And that's just like if you want to do a quick task, you know, like, hey, move these buttons to the left or change everything red. You know, that's kind of what we can do there. Or we're going to hit new project. So the new project is something that I like to do to get started. And so we'll just say next.js 14, you know, code update or something like that. And so hit create. So it says, what do you want to build? And so in here, there's this like middle section, which is going to be like the system prompt in a lot of ways. And so these are the rules that I want it to follow. So I hit Command V. And so all of these rules are the things that I want it to follow whenever I ask it various things. And so that way it'll comply and kind of stick to that type of, you know, framework and the different things in here. And these focus files are going to be shared across the project. So every time I do something is kind of why, you know, I want the marketing plan. So I'm going to go ahead and hit plus. I'm going to just type in marketing plan, MD. So in here, I should have just named this project marketing updates. I'm going to do that. So marketing updates with next.js 14. Okay. So this focus files are going to be the files that are going to be kind of like brought into the context. So that way I don't have to keep referencing it. And hopefully you should be able to update the marketing plan. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is hit the new composer window down here. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is like we're currently in the grid pattern thing. And if you see here at the bottom, you can actually drag this section here and then move it around if you wanted to. So that way it doesn't have to stay pinned at the bottom. And I've seen that happen sometimes. They're like, and then when somebody showed me like, well, you can just click and drag. This is really cool. You can also grab the sides and resize it if you wanted to, up and down, left and right. So wherever you feel that this fits for your workflow, definitely move it accordingly. And then you'll have these different options here. So this little dots will just say more options for what you want to do, like show history or reset position. Reset composer will just reset everything completely, like from scratch. So like as if you're kind of starting new again. And then this open control panel is Command-Shift-I. And so within that, this is kind of what brings up, you know, the original stuff that we started talking with. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, and then hitting the X will just close and kind of minimize that window, if you can kind of see that there. And then hitting the X here will close the composer window. And to get back into it, you can just do Command-Shift-I to kind of bring up the whole thing here. And so you see that there's these different chats that have been started here on what you're doing. So this first chat doesn't have the project mentioned, but the second chat actually has the project mentioned right here at the side. So just FYI, that's kind of how that works there. And so what we're going to go ahead and do is just going to say, please update the website following the @marketing plan MD. And then I want you to update all of the files in the @code base. And so what that's gonna, so that we have a successful marketing plan. Okay. So what we're saying here is just going to say like the @code base is just going to talk to all the files in the code base, try to figure out where everything's at. And it's going to use the marketing plan that's in that. And in our marketing plan, we have not only the marketing plan laid out, but we also have the rules for everything for Next.js. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and we'll just see what happens. So like, we'll wait. So as this is doing its thing, it's going to be generating. So what it's doing now is just basically going through all the different files, and you can see it's going through the page, it's going through the hero. It's going to go ahead and try to update those things here. Let me see if I can make it smaller so it can maybe show us a little bit more. And so in here on the right side, it says, I'll update the website. Let me see if I can maybe zoom in a little bit. Can I zoom in? Yeah. So that way you can see, oh, this is really cool. Yeah. So on this right side where it says marketing plan, here, you'll see like the chat. And then the chat is basically telling us, you know, I can probably drag this window a little bit bigger here so that way you can see that too. So it went ahead and basically updated all of these files here. So the page, hero, introduction, features, and then like basically this aligns with the content for our marketing plan. And then so we also have to update the nav. So this is even telling us that we still have more work to do. But what we can go ahead and do is just see if the changes have been applied. Because we're running bun, and as soon as we hit bun run, it's going to grab whatever's in there to run it. My project for a cursor, I think it's set to save. It's save automatically. And so if you don't have that setting saved, you hit Command S to save. So Command S will cause everything to save here. So let me just go ahead and zoom out a little bit so that way we can kind of get back into this thing, and so that we could be up in here and ready to go. Let's see. Cool. All right, cool. This should be good. All right, kids. And now, all right. So this looks like it updated all these files. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit close the composer for now. So that way we can see kind of what's going on. And so it keeps the composer window kind of floating, and I could just move it here. And then in here, what I'm going to do is going to hit the toggle panel section. So let me see if I can make this a little bit smaller so I can get everything kind of to fit in here for y'all. Let's see. Okay. One more bigger. Okay. Yeah, that should be good. All right, cool. All right, so in this one here, so we hit toggle panel to bring that up. And then in here at the bottom, it's actually already running our website. And so we hit Command, I think, did it have a problem? I'm going to hit Command K to clear out everything. So I'm going to go bun dev. And cool. So it should be running our site now. And let's go ahead and see what it looks like. So I'm going to pull up our web browser. And I think I already have it pulled up, maybe. Yeah. Okay. So here, let's see, localhost. And there is a problem. CTA is not defined. So what we're going to go ahead and do is just say, okay, hey, CTA is not defined. What's going on? So I'm going to copy and paste this. It may already have this. According to Ian, this already be in context. So seeing an error. Fix it. And then go ahead and hit enter. So I shouldn't have to copy and paste the error, but we may do that just to give it more context there. Yes, see, it already knew from the terminal and from it running that it's having the error. So cool. So let's see what happened here. Failed to compile. Play icon. Make sure this component exists. This does not exist. Where do I get the play components? So I haven't really been reading this, but let's go ahead and read. So does this say anything about? So it looks like it updated the copy for the marketing plan and updated all this code in these different sections. It aligns with the here. The now includes a component contraction to Cursor IDE. Okay. Remember to update the nav bar. Okay. CTA was missing, including if the play icon component doesn't exist, we'll need to create a use appropriate icon from your library. So are probably implemented. These changes should resolve. Okay. It doesn't exist. Because what they're saying is that the play icon should exist, but it does not. Please fix it. And then you can also give it at the WEB. So like the at web will then go search the web for any new information. Like maybe there's an icon library or something that you can pull down to help us with that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter here. And so that's just going to go ahead and, help us pull it down with that context. So Will Johnson, do you have advice for getting the models to minimize their error rates when developing code iteratively? At this current phase, it's going to generate errors, and it's also going to generate stuff in different directions that you may not know about. And so I don't have, I think people are trying to do these different cursor rules. They're trying to find out different techniques, and we're kind of currently all in a discovery phase of trying to minimize those things. And so what I'm just kind of doing right now is just showing some of the techniques that I use. It's not perfect. There's no perfect route, but I think all of these little things like giving it rules, giving it a direction can help it get better. Even giving it code examples if you can, could do that. And I just say go to the web and do the different things. So one of my favorite things is the at web feature. So that's something that Claude Sonnet doesn't have when you go into Anthropic's website. It doesn't have access to the internet. So that's kind of the bummer part. But the advantage of Cursor is that you can do at web, and then it just goes searches the web and it has a lot of context of what you're already doing. So then it's going to search the web using those types of things. So it's a great question. I think it's really good to bring up there. So yeah, thanks. That's there. Okay. So it's according to this, it looks like it's updated the different things. So let's try to create the play icon here in the hero section to update that. So let's just go ahead and see. Technically, it should be working, right? That's awesome. Look at that. So this is basically the landing page that we just like right there. It's already live. See, empower your development with the AI assisted. Watch Cursor IDE in action, demo placeholder. Common questions about Cursor IDE resources. You know, get started for free. So like, that's it. Just like that, right? I've seen that you get better code when you compartmentalize each task. It takes more time, but thoughtfully expands its context window to do it right. Yes, I would definitely say that's definitely like one of the aspects that you can use to like start piece by piece. There are multiple approaches here too. So depending on where you're at in the phase, especially if you have a template that's already good and designed, you could do that. Like you can also just, like you say, part of the reasons kind of why I do projects is probably it's a good way to get started. And then the next thing we could do is just work on the landing page or the hero page. So that way we can just focus all of the efforts. And so what Tajay is saying here basically is that with these language models, they only give you so much of a window of like code and things that are available for you to use. And so once you give it like too much code or too much stuff to do, like if you're changing from the marketing plan to then update this section and update that section, it can kind of forget that you're working on that thing. And you're like, oh, I just want to do this small thing. And it's like, oh, and then it feels like the model's getting dumber. And so one of the techniques here that he's explaining is that like, it's easier to just kind of chunk it down, saying, okay, let's just work on the hero section. Let's just update that and so forth. So what I did here was more of just kind of start at the very high level, saying like, let's just get this template. Let's feed it in a marketing plan. Let's just go ahead and update everything as much as possible and then see what we can do from there and kind of maybe work on the header section to update that and so forth. So that's kind of where, we're kind of going with this and so forth. And so that's just like one of the examples that we're doing that there with. So yeah. So wondering if intelligence of upcoming frontier models will probably enable everyone to code in natural language. What's your take on that? I mean, it's amazing what people can do today. It's truly amazing. Yeah, Michael. So I actually do think that the future of all this stuff is going to just like we're right at the cutting edge. And I feel like right now is the most important time to play with this stuff because it's still late breaking and new. And that just means that you're kind of getting a head start of how these models behave. And so you'll have a lot more reps in that other people are just getting started. And so I got started about a year ago in prompting. So what I was just doing is typing in these different prompts. And so I got really good at prompting and trying to guide these models to do better things. And so I know some of the limitations. So once you start getting into these things, everything kind of keeps building on top of each other. It's not like anything that was previously learned is kind of completely gone. That's still useful. So yeah, start getting into it. And like Google is offering now like 1.5 million token context window versus 150,000 or 100,000 with like Claude Sonnet. And so that's a big gap. And that just means you could put more code and more things. And that also means that there's also like ability to just, shoot video or talk to it and have it update on the fly as you're talking. I mean, in the image generation space, we're actually seeing quite a bit of stuff where people are like drawing with a pencil and it's updating live as you're like, the art is updating live as you draw it. And, you just tell it I'm drawing a scene of an outdoor space. So you just draw a squiggly line. It's already doing a bird, draw a thing that looks like a stick going up. It's already drawing a tree, it's like, it's pretty cool stuff. And I think that's what's going to happen with code. It's just that like we're still at the very earliest of stages. And that's kind of why I'm really excited. I just want to go on as much as possible to help, everyone here to kind of show them, like what this is all about and kind of where we're at right now. And then how to kind of leap ahead a little bit, like by getting a template, getting this on here, and then trying to use the, the composer mode to get that going. So just a FYI. Adding to what Michael's saying, I had an idea for a website called Cursive, the language of Cursor, but I have no time to follow through on that project. Yeah, I think I think one of the things that's really fun for me is to if you don't know, for people who are just tuning in, my favorite website is v0.dev, v like the actual 0.dev/chat. So here is where you can basically just start kind of playing around with things. So what I did was pretty fun. I was like, just stupid, silly idea. I'm at the gym. I was like, one of my problems I have all the time is like converting kg to kilograms to pounds and stuff. And I've always find it so annoying that like these apps want me to like pay a bunch of money or like, they show ads and stuff because it's free. And it's like, that's just so annoying. So why don't I just like make my little component and then make it available so I could just type in whatever I want. So 55, 80, like whatever I do, switch to pounds. So if I want to know, it's like it's just 400 pounds is 181 kilograms and stuff. So I can, log that into my thing. And then you can just now just do install. And then with one install command, we can have like a web app that's running. So that's something I thought I would do, is just how do I turn this into like a simple web app would probably be like my next stream. I would probably use, I'm learning this new thing called Vite. So, and we can probably use Replit to deploy it, because I think that's probably going to be like our fastest way to get this going, which would be super fun. If we have additional time, this could be really fun to do that. But I would definitely experiment with v0.dev/chat and just put your ideas in. You'll be very surprised with how much stuff you can come up with pretty quickly. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way that I'm looking at it. Let's see if we can do here. Yeah, I mean, and there's like people have been doing crazy stuff. Like, for example, there's one called the galaxy-shaped pyramid cluster. And so this person cooked, like, they basically just did this thing where they have this like, galaxy pyramid stuff. And then this galaxy pyramid is literally drawn on your screen using 3.js. And that basically allows you to, have animations and things that you can play around with in your websites. And that's something you can actually install on your websites, like completely interactive. And it's just like, it's just really crazy. If you could kind of think about any idea you have in your head. So you could be one of those things you're kind of waiting in line to do something. You just start going in and kind of start doing that. So like, I think I'm making one for like a tweet analysis. So I could just analyze tweets. So I just, put this thing in here, boom, it analyzes the results. So whenever, my goal here is to probably make a Chrome extension that I would just hit the analyze tweet button and it would just analyze it and it would just give me some type of result. And then, run it again, just kind of do its stuff. So this is all from V0. I just like literally just gave it in this prompt and then it just generated that for me and even told me where to set up the Chrome extension and what files to set up. Like this is just one prompt, like in V0, my friend. Like this is just so crazy. It's like so good. I'm very excited about like this stuff. And this is just one of many, and I'm just trying to show a little bit. I'm trying to use like this template example for us to walk through to show us how we can kind of do this type of stuff. So yeah, so it looks like the whole thing is running. There's this option here that says save all. So somebody was asking in the chat, like, how do you like prevent it from, like, if you want to still iterate multiple times, what do you do? You can hit save all and that would just save your files. And so that way you can preview it. Because I have the ability to automatically save using like one of my settings and stuff, I think it's like auto save. So I hit command comma for me to bring up the settings and I do save. There's a way to bring up the settings in here. Let's see. Whoops. I think because I have this different in Cursor, I go to settings and I go to profile Cursor settings, VS Code settings. Yeah. Save. Oh, I see. Let me close this composer window so that we see it. Okay. So here we go. Auto save after delay on focus change on Windows change. So like the default is off. So I turn on auto save and that way, if something happens, it's just saving automatically. I don't have to think about that. And hit Command S. Like if you, by default looks like that's off. That's probably why people weren't seeing the changes. My changes pretty much update on the fly. And then I just set mine to update after a delay. So that's just FYI. So I just do Command Shift I to bring back the composer window, or Command I to bring it to the smaller view here. And then you can hit, save all to save all the files just to make sure everything's saved and you're good to go. And that's how you can see the changes. That's why we were able to see the changes for our various things there to make sure the icon's set. So, yo, McKay Wrigley, what's up, man? Happy Sunday. We're just kind of hanging out, currently traveling in Montana. So this away from my home setup and just trying to figure, like, this is like kind of a different stream and trying to do everything possible and walking through stuff very, very slowly that I'm used to and just trying to bring some people along on the stream and kind of how do we like leverage an existing template and then add like a marketing plan and have it build out a site. And basically was able to do that, kind of with one prompt, super quickly and stuff. So you're on a roll, mate. How hard would it be to modify your transcription app to identify and name multiple speakers? I don't think it would be that hard. I think there are already, I have to look into the models and understand what they're doing for generating the transcriptions. I'm pretty sure may already be other models off the shelf that I can just use. I was using model Apple MLX. And so for those who don't know, I've open sourced a thing from that you can use your Apple computer, because Apple computers are really great. I don't have any bias, even though I worked there for like 12 years. No, I sincerely think they're the greatest things ever. Their operating system, I worked a lot on the operating system. All of these things have a bias, but like it's closed source, which sucks. But being on the inside and seeing the things, you're like, damn, there's a lot of detail. It's been here forever. Yeah. And they work really nicely. And they work really nicely with the new M hardware architecture. And so I'm able to transcribe a 3-hour stream in like a couple minutes. Absolutely bonkers, using the new Whisper MLX stuff with the distill models. So that's kind of something that I should probably get into a little bit later on. I want to definitely try to see if I can find some models. I used Cursor to build it. Literally, I forked a repo and I said, I want to use this for Apple MLX. And then here's a bunch of MLX documentation. Let's go ahead and implement it and, use Streamlit. And it's running. It's really cool. It runs on the machine. It's probably like my favorite thing now. And yeah, my goal is to kind of make a workflow that you can run open source on your Mac, so that when you're done recording, you could just kick off these different processes of like running your app, generating the titles, generating timestamps, and generating YouTube descriptions. And, got some more on that stuff that'll be coming up. So, oh yes. Yeah. Thanks, man. Literally, I think more people need to build UI for Apple MLX for people to really, truly understand the power here. Like there's so much power in the Apple MLX stuff. There's actually now ways you can make your own version of Sora videos, open source on your Mac whenever you want. It requires quite a bit of processing, but a couple of years from now, these Macs will just be a lot cheaper and you'll be able to do a lot more. So I think this is kind of still early too. We're totally early gang. So thanks everyone kind of for, tuning in and kind of figuring out this process. So just a little bit of summary, kind of kicking back a little bit. So what we started was with, we did create a new, and then we went to our basically gave it the marketing plan for what we wanted to accomplish. And so within part of our marketing plan, we put that into the focus files. And so we make sure that we save that. And then we had our big prompt for Next.js for the guidelines and the way that I wanted to do things. And this was generated using, Anthropic. I gave it some rules and gave it some things, and then used Perplexity to figure out, what are the latest things that then not only Next.js, but what does Vercel and these different developers who are developing with this, what do they actually recommend, and what are some examples and stuff, and kind of fed that in. And then we opened a new composer window and basically told it to update our existing template that we had downloaded from Tailwind UI, and then said it go ahead and just update the website following the marketing plan. And the first code that it generated had some issues for, stuff that was erroring, and even gave us some suggestions. And then what we found out, from Ian, is that you don't have to copy and paste the error. It already has that in its context. So you just say, go ahead and fix this. There's an error. And then it's just like, yeah, I'll go ahead and fix it. And it fixes it. And then just within those 2 iterations, we basically have this, landing page that I think I broke it. I don't know what happened. Let's see. Can I just Control Z it or something? I don't remember what I did. I've probably just been typing everywhere. But basically, we had a website up and running. And so let's see. Let's just go reapply all, just to make sure I apply everything again. And then we shut down the server. And then hit save all. And then go ahead and run dev. And then see kind of where we're at. Let's see here. So we should be able to run this. And if we get an error, we're just going to tell the AI to fix it. Yeah, here we are. Yeah. So I just basically, so that's another hack here for those, if you encounter this error, something happens, or a file did not apply correctly, what we did here was hit save all, and then we did reapply all. So what it does is it'll make sure it'll go back and reapply the diffs for every single file. This could be helpful if you accidentally change something like I probably did. I didn't even know it. And that could be super helpful for, your development process. Just to hit reapply all, and you just see, I just turned off the server, Command C, and then hit run dev again, and then we're basically up and running. And so we now have this cool landing page that we downloaded, and it's currently running these things. So we hit screencast, resources, pricing and so forth. And so, yeah, and that's kind of like just the basics of like getting started for the landing page and how we've been able to grab this marketing plan and kind of get this started. We're gonna really to kind of get this thing here. And so we wanted to like fix some of the bugs right now because you can see like the table of contents and core features doesn't work. And so as Mr. Spencer had actually outlined, saying it's probably better to just kind of start out with these little sections. And I feel like this is kind of now where we go into the iterative process. So we go from like, hey, just kind of build the skeleton, fill in the marketing plan, make sure that all the stuff is kind of in there sort of, and then let's just go ahead and now iterate a little bit smaller. So that's kind of where we can kind of maybe try to do that right now for like the next section. I'm a beginner in programming using Replit, Cursor, ChatGPT, and Claude 3.5. I struggle understanding file and folder structures and projects. Any tips? Excuse my ignorance. No, totally not a problem. I would suggest taking a look at some of the starter videos on YouTube. That's actually kind of what I've been doing a lot. It's just been learning Next.js. And there are several folks that I like. Code with Antonio is really good. WebDev Cody. There are quite a number of folks actually out there who have like a lot of explanations. And if you haven't had a chance to check out McKay Wrigley, he actually has right now a course on Cursor on getting started. And, he's posting a lot of amazing stuff on X on like little techniques and things that kind of help you get started. So like those are some resources I would definitely check out. There's also another guy called, I think it's Beehive or something like that, or Echo Hive, ECHOHIVE. And he has some courses that are also available on his Patreon that, has like already a bunch of content. And I don't know if they go specifically into explaining file systems, but you may be able to find some basic stuff on YouTube for kind of how the layouts of the app structure is for the Next.js 14 stuff, like the app router. Also, Next.js.org itself has its own open source Next.js.org. They actually, this is the conference, but at the very top right, let's see if we can kind of go here in the docs. If you're using the app router, they'll tell you here a little bit about the project structure. So this could be very helpful. I'm going to go ahead and paste this right here into the comments so that you can have this as well. And so you'll get to see how like some of this folders are laid out, a little bit of the description. And this walkthrough is actually super duper handy. You just learn a lot about like routing and kind of how some of these things work, and like how pages are defined for these types of things. And I find that extremely helpful. So yeah, McKay is also popping in here. The best way to learn is to build. I agree. Yes. Don't be afraid to jump right in, everyone. Just ask the AI models unlimited questions and you'll make a ton of progress. 1000%. Thank you so much for bringing that point up, McKay. And this is something that Riley also says, and this is something I'm a huge believer in. And this is something that we have today that was not really that available like 5-10 years ago. Back in the day, you have to go bug developers and people who knew stuff and like just be at them. And they'll say, go look at this book, go look at that. Oh, don't bother me. And you'd have to rely on these build errors to look at them and try to figure out what's going on. You're just like, oh my gosh, But now what you can do is just like we did there. There was an error. Hey, I don't know what happened. Go ahead and fix it. Try this. Explain to me why this error happened. And then you could just have this conversation back and forth. And I find that extremely helpful and can help you learn. And so what's good is at the very beginning, you may not know a lot, but as you keep doing this process over and over again, you'll start to see patterns. You'll start to see how things are done. As you ask different questions, to start to kind of build your relationship. You can do that in parallel while you're also trying to learn something else. So that way things solidify, and that way you activate different parts of your mind. So as you're learning something, you're actively trying to build it. As you're learning something, you're actively building it. So you're kind of doing back and forth, and that's probably some of the best ways to learn pretty quickly. So definitely would suggest that. I sent my message twice. I'm sorry. But thank you all for the best tips. Yeah, no, thank you for everyone in the comments and everyone's kind of coming in and doing this stuff. And I'm actually trying to, start my workshop. I'm actually, basically kind of dog fooding my own process here. Getting my marketing plan and template in order and then putting this into like my own website. So that way people can, start to program and so forth. So one of the things that we can do here, maybe before we head on out, because, it's about like 5:13 here. I'm currently in Montana doing something in mountain time. And so what we can do is just try to see if we can iterate and fix a couple of the bugs. So what we notice here, if we go to table of contents and we click on core features, they say different things. So let's go ahead and see if we can tell the AI to make sure we can, fix this here. So back in our thing here, we'll just continue the conversation maybe, or we can, this could be a little bit easier, like to see if we can make it full screen. Okay. So What I'm going to go ahead and do is go ahead and create a new like composer window here. So if I hit the little plus here, it should basically say grid pattern, and then this should let us know. Can we select the project? Okay, hold on. There wasn't a way. If we go to marking updates, oh, here we go. So in here, this doesn't have the context from our marketing updates thing. So I'm going to hit close, and then I'm going to hit close on this one. So at the very bottom right, you'll see this like new like section down here. So we can hit the plus. Where is it? If I hit this one here. Okay. So looks like you have to select this marketing project up here and then hit new composer. Okay. So whenever you select the chat, that goes away, and that it looks like it gets overwritten by this. And then so we go to the top left and select our, basically our plan with the focus file of the, the marketing plan in here. If we go back into this control panel and open it full screen, make sure you select this at the top, and you go to the new composer. And so when you hit new composer, it's going to open up like a whole new window, and it shows us the marketing plan with the file there. And so this is just kind of, we're going to say, like, please help me fix the bug for table of contents and core features as they're labeled differently. For table of contents and core features for section 1 as they are labeled differently. Please make sure all the sections work on mobile and on desktop. So what that's happening there, and then at Codebase, you could just do that. So you may not know where in the code it is, so it's going to go ahead and try to like understand that and hit enter. And then once we do that, so by opening up a new chat, we're basically kind of creating a new like window so that it can focus solely on like this type of problem and try to solve that for us. So it already has identified, you're talking about this component here at the table of contents. Let me cook for you. So it's basically doing that. And it's using the marketing plan in the context as it already has. And it's already reading the code base that we've already generated. So it has all of that in there. So it's already kind of trying to do everything that we can. And so what we can do, these are all the files. It's already been saved. And we can go ahead and hit the X here to close the composer window down. This looks like it's already running, and we should already be seeing the changes here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit table of context, core features, demo app, back, resources. So yeah. And so it's already doing the thing. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is just going to go ahead and hit like refresh here, because I think we had some bugs. And so one of the things I like to do sometimes is like Control C to close the actual session, and then bun dev to rerun and start everything again, just a FYI. And so it's already ready to go. And we go here and hit Command R to refresh. And so one of the things that happens for these types of things is that it actually changes the URL at the top. You can see the hashtag table of contents. And then you hit core features, it changes this up here as well as part of the thing. So we just kind of go ahead and go back and just go back to localhost, and it just takes us right to the top. If we scroll down, then we'll start to see these features and stuff. As you scroll, you'll see them update as you scroll down. So isn't that pretty slick how it does the things? And so there's also like a numbering thing that's off that we can also go ahead and fix that. So remember how I was telling you how you can search for things? So we can do build simple app. So we're going to go ahead and highlight this text here. And we're going to go in here into the actual integrated environment. And I'm going to close this window for now. I'm just going to go ahead and accept all because everything looks pretty good. And so we're going to go ahead and search. And then in here, I'm going to hit paste, which is building a simple app. So this is kind of where it mentions, this is our part of the marketing plan in the MD file. So MD just stands for Markdown. And that just means that it's a specific way to like see the documents. And if you ever look at anything like Notion, underneath the hood, this is actually what it looks like. So you see this in Notion, like how it looks really big and so forth. And that's kind of like, you have a big title and small things and dots. What it is actually doing underneath the hood is writing everything in Markdown. Is just here on the left. And one of the secret unlocks that people have discovered, or like I've discovered in talking to people in the AI community, is that these language models do really well when you give instructions in Markdown. So Markdown is really good. And Claude Sonnet also likes instructions in XML as well. It tends to do very well with that. And so you can do either or. I find Markdown to be extremely reliable and dependable, which is kind of what you see there. But that's kind of little bit of background on what Markdown is and kind of what that is all about. So going back a little bit to the search again, now that we found the text in the demo app section, and this is the stuff that was we got from the Sonnet, or not Sonnet, the Command Shift I think I did accept all. Yes. It says building a simple app, and you see this says section number 2. If we go back to our web app, this is actually core features was number 2 and demo app was 3. So what we're going to go ahead and do is change where it says number 2 to just 3, and then we should go back to our site here, and it should already be updated. 3, perfect. We hit FAQ 4, and so frequently asked questions. This is kind of the same thing here, so we could just go ahead and Command F there. And so this is just a way for you to do it manually. If you're thinking about that, you can tell the AI or Cursor to do that. But this, to me, by doing this little interactive thing, it gets you to actually show you where things are happening in the code. And so if you want to try to understand that, one of the best ways I find to do that is to, let me zoom in up here at the top. So let me show you a little secret. So right here, when you have frequently asked questions, you know how we did a Command F here at the very top left corner to search for frequently asked questions, like right here. And so it took us to where this is in the code, and right here at the top, it says SRC components FAQ. And so that is actually where the structure is. So now if we go back to this top left corner, because we searched for it and we clicked right into it, you can see where the code is stored. And so by doing this back and forth relationship, just kind of editing some of the code by hand and playing around, you can kind of see where things are affected in the user interface. So this is a nice, fun way to sort of do a couple of things. You can learn how the code is working and then figure out what stuff is updated. So don't be afraid to go in and start messing things up, because you can also, Command Z to undo it, and it should undo you back to where you were. And that way you can kind of see how the code is working. And then remember that earlier how we were talking about stepping through into things. So if you hit Command, and then like by holding the Command key and clicking, this will take us to this thing called the section heading in that part of the code. And so you can kind of see, let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit on my window here. Just trying to do this all at once. And I'm just a single person. This is so fun to be able to stream and kind of show you some of this stuff. And this is kind of the stuff that I wish somebody would show me like a long time ago. And so I'm just kind of taking you along because I do find this type of stuff a little bit helpful kind of in the details of things. But this is kind of how you learn and also use AI to help you do the stuff that you want to do. If you go to section heading command and click this, that'll take you to that section of code. So as you can kind of see here, you're already starting to see the layers of how the code is really kind of, building up on top of each other and stuff. And so basically, if you can kind of think about it, everything is kind of wrapped on top of each other. And it's like kind of mind blowing that people used to write this stuff by hand. If you can, like people wrote this stuff by hand. I like, God bless your souls, because you made our lives a lot easier and we don't have to reinvent the wheel, to do these types of things. So yeah, so that was like the demo app here. This is building a simple app. We had number 3, and the section heading is kind of something that defines those sections. This is kind of what we're seeing up here for how they behave. So like this is the design style for those section headings. So that's how we're able to see that same type of style, and you don't have to repeat the code. All you have to do is just give it the text and give it a number, and that's how and why it updates. And so if we go to FAQ, we have 4, and then resources, it's currently number 3 here. So we just type in resources and we go into here. I bet you it's going to be in the resources section. So we have page resources down here, and then the ID that says resources in title. And then we could just say, I think it says tools and resources, number 3. So number 3, this is going to be number 5. Because we learned that section heading is kind of defined that way. Just by stepping through the code there. So let's go ahead. Whoops. Let me go back to Safari. Yep. So we go 4, 5, demo app. And so one of the things we wanted to test, if you do Control Command R on Safari, basically this lets you kind of see things in like a mobile view. So let me just kind of refresh this here. And so right now this header section is not in mobile view, and we can fix that in a little bit. If we scroll down, we're going to see the different sections here. As we're scrolling, it says content, core features. So now everything's kind of looking pretty slick there. So that's pretty awesome, right? So if you go back to here, it clicks, every section you click kind of makes it work there. So yeah, isn't that cool? It's pretty awesome, I'd say. I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a breakdown of how kind of stepping through the code there. And then I say Command Shift I. I think we saved everything. Yeah, we completed and saved everything there. And yeah, so I think that's kind of what we have there for now. So we're about an hour and a half in. And what we've been able to do so far, just kind of wrapping things up here, is that we've been able to go to, we started out, using Cursor, talking a little bit about the beginnings and kind of the layout of what the app looks like, where chat is located, how to configure some of those models, a little bit of the plans here, free versus pro, and then the ability that you can still use Cursor for free by bringing in your own keys and stuff. Which is still available there for you. And then the other big unlock that we learned that I was showing you today was about how do you use Tailwind UI to basically accelerate your development a lot faster. So one of the ways is to use existing design templates that people have built. And so instead of hiring a designer for thousands and thousands of dollars, you can pay them maybe a tenth of the price and use one of their existing designs and then, have your marketing copy and go ahead and update it within that. So not only do they have that, but they also have custom designs for the components. And so that way you can have your own sections of things. So these are sections of code that you can just pull right in and put it into your project. And, they're already pretty good looking right off the get-go. And so they'll have like stuff for e-commerce. They'll have stuff for apps. They have stuff for like different team sections and stuff. And so that way you can already have something that's really good design and you're not really reinventing the wheel. Or you can try to take a screenshot, but to me, I'm all about like repeating really good code and different things like that. And just kind of, like the way that a lot of these developers architect things is to make it as easy as possible to abstract away, the nonsense. So when I say the nonsense, the things that take forever to tweak. And so that way, all you have to do, like we did there, was just put the number for our section and put that title. And all we didn't have to mess with any button style or anything like that. That's already been handled, separately. So that's the power of using some of these templates and these different component frameworks. And this is just a little bit of basic overview of how you can move really quickly. And I thought that would be a really cool way for like getting our landing page thing. And then we went to, rayfernando.ai. In my first stream, I was kind of giving you some of the prompts. So I'm going to try to see if I can make another blog post that kind of details a little bit about this. Because my goal is to try to see if I can, basically make like a workshop so that people can, I can help more people. And I'm still new to just live streaming and helping people out. And so it's going to be free. So I don't have like anything to sell you literally. I'm just trying to help you out like a friend. This all started because I was trying to help my friend Imrat, who we were going back and forth and just sharing some Cursor stuff. And a lot of people were asking like, how do you use Cursor to do these types of things? So I'm going to be launching my website. I need to hook it up to Beehive so that I can write my emails and send that out and send different messages for you. But it's just going to be a really simple thing to just get your stuff started. And this is going to be free. I used to be an engineer at Apple, and a lot of people helped me get started in my life and career. I still, back in the day, I worked at Geek Squad, and I used to work, going to people's houses to fix computers, to like being an engineer on the floor, and then being behind the scenes and working around. So I've had the joy to be around and see a lot of things, and I just want to help you and get started. And I feel like giving back to the world is a good thing. And one of my favorite things about social media, about streaming, is the fact that you can share this stuff and it lives on forever. So somebody 5 years from now could probably find something really interesting in all the stuff that we've been cooking. So would love to know where else we can purchase templates, components besides outside of Tailwind UI. That's a really good question. So let me give you some of that right now. So Magic UI, if you do Magic UI design, this guy is really cool. I think he's from San Francisco. And not only he has like UI library designs, he has a couple of templates, but I think I'm more blown away by his components. So like he has a lot. This is free. All of these components here are free. So you can do a lot of really cool things that you see, like text reveals and stuff. As you're scrolling, stuff gets revealed, like super saucy stuff. Like this, all you have to do is run these commands to put them in. And here's like some of the parameters. Tell your AI to update it. And you'll have like some really cool stuff, stuff that you see on different landing pages. He even has a startup template that's paid. Oh no, like a portfolio template. So you can use this portfolio template. It uses Framer Motion, and this is basically like one of the couple of things that he has there that you can use. And that's Magic UI. Another one that's really good is Aceternity. Let me put this in the chat so you can have this available as well. Let's see. Let's see. Aceternity. How do you spell the Aceternity without, let's see. Oh, yeah. So, Aceternity UI. So ui.aceternity.com is another really good resource. Let me just kind of link you up in here so y'all can have this in the, I'm putting this in the chat so they can be available. I'm going to try to see if I can put these in the descriptions as well. Magic UI is incredible. Pro is totally worth it. By the way, I think it's only like $60 or something. I got it a while ago. Startup template is just, yeah, it's so good. It saves a lot of code, which is really cool. I think I Pico Pro. So I use Magic UI to generate my friend's landing page for this app called Pico. He has an app in the App Store. He has never had a website. I'm like, bro, you have to have a website. Like, how do you not have one? Let me just use one of these cool things. And so this is me playing around with it. These reviews are from the App Store, and I just pulled his App Store reviews in here. Simple. Look at that. They're like, it just works. Go download now. It just goes to the store. Is also mobile friendly. That's just basically just from that's from Magic UI. Aceternity UI. Awesome stuff. Really awesome stuff. Tons of components. A lot of stuff that you probably have seen from like landing pages. I mean, so many people have used it. Here's the templates thing. I bought this as well. Like, well worth its weight in gold. There's like a SaaS template starting page. You can see here they have some really cool stuff. And then they also have some proactive marketing thing. Like, I'll show you this one. This one cooks. This one like absolutely cooks. You're like, you can't believe you can pay for it and start using with this. So like this right off the get is the template. You scroll down. Did you see that? Like the way, look at this dashboard at the bottom. Oh, so cool, right? It has a video thing you could play, and it has the bento box stuff with these animations. This comes with a template, by the way, which means if you know what I mean, what we're just doing, you can cook. Like, this is fine. You would pay a designer like 10K minimum to get this, like at least. And this is part of like their template. And then imagine what we just did with just updating marketing copy with the site. Sheesh, come on. And then watch this. Mobile friendly. Let's go. I mean, that by itself, just mobile design is so like takes a long time to tweak and update. And you'll see when you start to kind of update your code, you'll see how long it takes. But yeah, that's just one of the many of them. That's Aceternity Pro. They have quite this person has a lot of templates available. They're also available for hire for design, but they also have all these components like nav bars and different footer types that you can put. You can put like different sections, and like hero sections are pretty cool. This is the ones that we were talking about for like this stuff is animated. Oh, I love good design. I could just do a whole show just on design. Maybe I'll just do that like a marketplace. Like, actually, you've inspired me. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to do like another stream just on like templates because I feel like these are really, really good. And to my designer friends, like if you haven't thought about this, you should, if you're already really good at design, start to make some like just designs. Like if you already do stuff in Figma, see how you can make that available as like a design template for Next.js. Like use Cursor and then try to sell them because people are anxious and they're looking for really good design that's unique. And your power as a designer is you have that superpower. You can design. You can use your magic of design that you spent all these years doing stuff, and come up with it. So if you need some help, definitely hit me up. I want to get connected with more designers, and I still have to go through all my list here. But I'm definitely gonna get back to you for sure. But like this is Aceternity UI as the pro plan. Like look at this as a header. You could just drop that in. So we could just drop that in, and like we'll cook. Like it's so crazy, right? So, oh man, this is so good. So good. You got me on a tangent. This is so good. Okay, I love this stuff. Like, yeah, I could do this all day. I mean, I'm always so excited for this type of stuff. My website for Takeoff is literally built from the template from our own reviews pulled into. Yeah, I'm telling you, like this is like McKay Wrigley. If you don't know, like Takeoff. I think it's takeoff.chat. No, takeoff.ai. I think Takeoff. Yeah, Takeoff AI on X. And so, join Takeoff. That's what it is. Yeah, join takeoff.com. So Takeoff is the ability to learn your AI skills through McKay Wrigley. McKay Wrigley is a legend, 100,000 plus followers on X. Not only that, but has been working with Next.js for years. He started back with the OpenAI stuff and has been contributing to the open source community and has contributed like the chat apps, like some of the first chat apps after ChatGPT came out. He basically made a free version of it. Everyone's been using that to make their apps going forward in the open source community. It's just been like super legendary, which is amazing. And so obviously following McKay. And so he has a course on Cursor, and he's breaking down like if you just follow his X account, there's just like all these like 5-minute videos and couple minute videos, like how to use Cursor with ShadCN. So that's the one of the component libraries for design that is basically that you can pull in. And he has like a little 6-minute video talking about that. So like if you want to learn and get some quick bite-sized stuff, definitely go ahead and check that out. He's like just his own like Twitter, McKay Wrigley. Let's see if I can put that on here. So that way you can put this in the chat. So you can check that out. And then he has this thing, join takeoff.com. I'll put that up in here so y'all can get up on this. Yeah, I'm not sponsored, by the way. I just love to share stuff that everyone's kind of been building. And this is like, I actually have never met McKay in person, and like I literally just, we've been meeting and chatting online and sharing our love for Cursor. And these are people like us that we just are very passionate about it. And I think all of us believe that the future is like here with these types of AI platforms that allow us to take our ideas and put them into code. And so we're all trying our different approaches. And what's really nice is everyone has their different styles and approaches. And, McKay has been doing a crazy amount of job, like, cutting the video, recording, and doing all these different snippets and stuff. And like kind of putting it down to a more digestible piece. And I feel like that's a huge, huge time saver because I don't have the time to do that right now. And I'm trying to like eventually figure that out. But I want to start with live streams. I feel like that's kind of where I'm at right now. And, like people like McKay has like taken all that hard work, they put some resources behind like editing and cutting the stuff down to more digestible pieces to teach you. So I definitely would, recommend go try that out. Really cool person in general. So I think it's just like a one-time subscription or like it's a subscription service. So not only that you have that, but you'll have continual stuff that they'll continue to drop. And has all this type of stuff in there. So like the courses, and then you can see learn to code or build a full stack with AI. And this is like the actual course layout. So this is like all the different things in there. So yeah, definitely go check that out if you haven't had a chance to. Oh yeah. And so we'll get to meet up at the OpenAI Dev Day. So I think it's October 1st. That'd be really cool. I get to meet you in person. That'd be really fun. It's going to be maybe, yeah, we'll definitely have to like do some streams and stuff. So I have all of his posts bookmarked. Yes. I know, right? Like everything that McKay posts, like bookmark. I swear, like every post I have from like several creators, I just have like bookmarks on everything. So we just want to see more builders in the world, and it's never been more accessible. Yes, yeah, and I think kind of like before I kind of leave the stream, it's just kind of want to take this time to encourage you to. If you've been thinking about building, if you already tried building, like continue on, and you're going to run into errors, but just keep feeding that into the AI system. And I think that's a big unlock. Don't be afraid if you stumble, because now you could just keep feeding that back in. And so you can literally, these things are sort of smart enough to kind of help you out. And you can use other systems that I haven't shown you yet, like Perplexity. And if you haven't had a chance, check out Perplexity. They have a really great system where it basically uses a language model to understand what you're searching, and then goes out in the world to do that type of search and bring stuff back down for you. And so then once you get those results, you can feed them back into the language model, and then it starts to become like even more helpful. And so that's kind of what we're doing here. It's like, as you build, don't be afraid to break something, because then you can feed in that error with some other additional context, or go talk to a friend or ask online, or look up at these different resources, even on YouTube. How do I fix this? I'm hitting this error. Get that information, feed that back into an LLM, have it fix it. If there's a code example, here's something that I saw that sort of fixes it. What do you think? Or help me do this, or what can be the outcome? All of this stuff helps provide this this language model to continue to grow. And so Riley, who's actually hasn't touched code like 2 to 3, 4 months ago or something like that, is basically started this mission to make his own apps. He started with Replit, is now learning Next.js, and is like, when I say learning, he's just shipping code. He's already like actually shipping code, and he may not know how everything works, but he just knows that things are working when you hit the run button. And that's the most like amazing breakthrough here, is the fact that these things, especially with code, it's kind of like a calculator. 1 + 1 = 2. So you're always going to get 2. If it does not 2, then there's something wrong. And then you tell it to go fix itself. Like, you don't have to know how the calculator works. You just have to know that that answer doesn't look right because it doesn't hit run. Or I don't see the website that I'm expecting. Or, tell it to try a different approach. So this stuff is just so magical, and I'm just excited to share with you. And today's breakdown was more of like a kind of step-by-step how I look at things, a little bit of details of like maybe what you can be looking for in the file system, how to navigate things and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different than my other streams, but I feel like This kind of has to be done as well. And I want to eventually kind of hone this down and maybe make a more precise and smaller video that kind of breaks this down in like a shorter fashion. This is just a very casual long stream that I get to kind of hang out and talk with you as friends and as personal people, because I feel like it's really important to kind of meet up with this. So about to sign up for McKay's course, and you confirmed for me this is a good course based on the street cred. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if anything happens, like, let me know, because I want to share. And I feel like McKay is a great person. I don't think he's like, you can already tell from the content he's already been dropping on X that this is going to be fire. It already is fire, just from the layouts and stuff. So yeah, just like, I don't have any doubts at all. It's a good intentioned person, and I don't like feel like he's a scammer or anything like that. It's just good people who are building stuff, and I do want to let you know about them. I feel it's important to share these resources with everyone. So you can use the V0MD trick with the Perplexity 2 if you run into nasty errors and need an internet search. Oh, that's right. Yes. We'll have to talk about that one. I want to do a code stream with McKay so that we can talk about this. I have a really funny code stream challenge that I was kind of tossing over to him, and I think it'd be really fun to kind of present this, because it'd be really cool for us to kind of to collaborate on that. Early days of Stable Diffusion, I needed ChatGPT to teach me basic virtual environment management and help resolve many Apple dependency issues. Now, plus Pinocchio got me Gucci. Yes. Python, virtual environments, operating system environments, that is a really hairy mess. And I've spent so much time working on these things. So I can't wait to do some streams about that, because there's just a lot of rabbit holes people can go down to. So yeah, Riley's vids are great. So I think, so far we kind of just got the little bit of basics of Cursor at the beginning, showed you a little bit of templates, and people, I kind of shared the Aceternity UI templates that you guys can check out. The magicdesign.ui stuff, and I'll have some of those resources also linked below so that you can check it out as well. They're going to be super helpful for you to get started going forward. And this week I'm currently in Montana, as you can kind of see here. We're kind of hanging out with me and like my duck friends as well, out on the pond. I don't know if my other camera's going to be working, so let's see if this kind of works here. I guess it's not working for right now, but it's okay. It's just, actually, you know what? I have two cameras, and one of them set up for the Osmo Pocket, and the other one's not. Okay, so yeah, this is basically my studio right now. It's literally outside, and like you could kind of see where I'm at, like on the lake. And this is like I'm outside. I'm literally outside, and we're just chilling. And I wanted to get this set up because the light's really beautiful here, and I'm traveling and stuff, and I felt like this is just a good way to connect and share it. So I really appreciate. I apologize for the delay in starting the stream, because I had a lot of technical difficulties. I'm using this like new streamer X type of thing where my camera connects to it, and I'm used to my board at home. And so I want to do more traveling. I actually want to do more travel streaming, because I like to go to Hawaii, so I'll definitely will be there. I'm going to be traveling to other places like Italy. I'm going to be traveling to Croatia, and so I need to have like a travel stream, and I actually do have like a little travel kit with me. And so I need to figure out my mic situation, because this mic is a little too tall. It's kind of awkward, and I want to have it like more in front of me, so that way it sounds pretty good, or pick up some other types of mics. And so definitely appreciate everyone who's just been able to join in and kind of have some fun with me as we're rolling through with Cursor. And I want to do more, and please stay tuned. I'm going to have like a sign up there. But if you're interested right now into checking out some content, definitely check out McKay Wrigley. It's got some good stuff with the join Takeoff AI thing that's got that going on, and I'll have that link below. So folks can check out his course and do that type of thing. If you haven't had a chance to, definitely like and subscribe and follow along, because I'll be posting some more content throughout the week. I also plan to post more informal sessions that are just going to be just me like doing some stuff. So on Tuesday, I'm going to have a session with my friend Ronald Manak. And so he's doing some Swift development. So this is going to be more of a discovery stream. So together, we're going to try to figure out like, how can we get this Cursor thing to work with Swift? And actually, like, can we compile a build and make it run on device? Because Ronald's a Swift developer, and we can try to see if we can figure out and hack the operating system and do something cool. So, I can try to like whisper to some Xcode friends and see like what the real sauce is for, Xcode build, and how can we do something that can maybe work well underneath the hood without messing too much stuff up, or eating all of your CPU. So that is going to be a really interesting and fun stream. So definitely stay tuned. And then later throughout the week, I also plan to do some updates. I want to do more casual things. Like I'm pulling up at the airport waiting for like an hour at the lounge. Just pull up like a real casual coding session and pull up like my, Osmo Pocket here and just stream with this guy with like one microphone and just not be so fancy. I have like a little lavalier mic. I do like to have my production value pretty high, but I want to make that, as easy as possible and without like kind of blowing up the scene. So that's kind of where we're at. For those who are just tuning in, thank you. And for those who've been tuning in forever and kind of staying throughout the stream, you guys are real ones. I mean, I really appreciate you. I'm still new to this whole streaming thing. And the popularity of my first couple of videos have actually pushed me over the threshold. Now I've over 1,000 YouTube followers. And, I started with like 500. And on X, I had like 3,200 followers and now like over 6,000. So this is absolutely insane. And I want to continue to give more value back to you. So for that, I appreciate you. My name is Ray Fernando, and I will see you in the next stream. Thank you so much. Peace, y'all.